Hello everyone, my name is Zaid and this is my Picha Kucha 20th Century Ideology project on capitalism. I cover a lot of stuff in this presentation, so I hope you guys enjoy and learn something as we go on. Thank you. First, we have started with one question. What is capitalism and what is a market economy? Capitalism is an economic system which allows people or businesses to own capital goods. The production of goods is based on the demand and supply of the market economy from the consumers and the sellers. Before we discuss capitalism, we have to discuss feudalism, which is the father of modern day capitalism. The idea is to exchange your labor for a set wage and currency. This drew peasants from all over into towns where they could do this and not be under landowners anymore, who mostly exploited them. Then came mercantilism, which is the idea of trade between nation to nation and brought on the idea of competition in modern day capitalism. This started when trade agreements started between simple towns who had different products and came together, and when they homogenized together, it created one big economy. If you were wondering from the last slide what market competition is, it is the rivalry between two countries or two villages who export the same products. This created a higher sustenance for higher quality in products so they can stand out and consumers can favor their product rather than the others. A man named Adam Smith had the idea that mercantilism wouldn't work because of competition. His ideals came at a perfect time because the Industrial Revolution was about to take over, and large tycoons of factories were beginning to bring people into the cities and towns for work and labor. Forced labor became a very apparent adverse effect of the Industrial Revolution, where some countries decided to eliminate the entrepreneurship altogether, which caused social and political upheaval. However, there was also finally a creation of the middle class, with wages increasing as the standard of living arose before the revolutions. Laissez-faire capitalism, or let-it-be capitalism, describes a free market capitalism where the government does not control the market at all, by instead letting the complete forces of demand and supply in consumer and supplier relationships shape the economy. This is also one of the reasons the Great Depression happened in the United States. An example of 20th century capitalism is Russia. Before the revolution, they basically imposed forced labor on the workers of the factories with quite low wages. This caused the Soviets to revolt in their name, but that's another story. Then in 1946, the US abandons the laissez-faire system and promised to keep employment levels high along with production. Another example of 20th century capitalism is in the mid-1990s when the US hit a great economic boom in the real estate and housing market. Then in 2008, it crashed and decreased the market value by quite a bit. And also, generally there are many ups and downs in capitalist economies in the West throughout the 20th century, but that was expected to happen. As you can see in this hilarious comic, this is what the US tried to do with their economy. They were shoveling money into it, even though it wasn't progressing at all, and this only created inflation, which raised the production costs and all the costs in the country, creating the economic downturn of the 1920s and the Great Depression. As you can see on the left, the crowd of people are the people who were protesting the Great Depression or what the government was doing during the times of the Great Depression. All these people were jobless at the time, also on the bottom right. And on the top right, you can see the people protesting the Russian government, the Tsar, for the economic downturn. As you can see here, these are pros and cons for capitalism generally. One of the pros are the incentive to be rich and encourage innovation. However, a con to that would be firms who are rich gain monopoly and power, and it's very hard to compete in some markets. Also, there tends to be a lot of inequality in capitalism. An example of modern day capitalism would be the United Kingdom, who has a history of being an economic leader in capitalism and is a major economic hub and trade partner. Others would be like Hong Kong and the United Arab Emirates, who gained most of its wealth from oil and aviation and telecommunications along with satellites. Crony capitalism is really interesting in where it describes a close relationship between the state and business. The idea is favoritism from the government, so in taxes, tax breaks, grants, and other incentives that businesses can do to improve their relationship with the government of that country. Crony capitalism is practiced in some countries but isn't really popular. Pure capitalism versus mixed system. A mixed system is when the government owns a part of the production interests in the economy where they may circumvent, replace, limit, or otherwise regulate private economic interests that is said to be a mixed economy. On the other hand, pure capitalism is known to be like laissez-faire, in where the government has no control whatsoever in the economy. Here are the pros of a free market versus the pros of a government intervention. In a free market, entrepreneurs are able to make more profit and prices are determined by market forces. In a government intervention, progressive taxes to reduce inequality are available and the government provides the public goods or products in the economy. My personal opinion on capitalism is that I believe capitalism should be the way that countries run their economy. However, I do believe in a bit of government intervention when it comes to child labor, which is minimum age to work, minimum wage, and tax and tariffs to control competition of products. When you don't have those things, something like the Great Depression would happen. Here are the sources I used for this presentation. I used them in the correct order, meaning I used the first one for the first bit and the last one for the last bit. I want to thank all of you for watching my presentation today. I hope you guys learned something and most of all enjoyed it. I wrote a little joke there in the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see it. But thank you for watching and goodbye.